Hello, my name is Zach, and I'm an instructor here at Certified Training Institute. I'm also a residential builder, and I'm here with Josh. He's a licensed retailer of the ICC code books. And Josh, why don't you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. I'm an ICC member. I do want to throw out there, I'm not a representative of the ICC, although we have talked directly to them about this situation we're going to be talking about today, in that we're going to be talking about counterfeit code. Counterfeit code is a topic that's come up very recently for us as a retailer of the books and for contractors who are out there using the codes and standards and seeing that there's opportunity to purchase them extremely cheaply on sites like Amazon and eBay and places that don't take the time to actually look at who's selling a product. And they're selling completely counterfeit books made in China and the Philippines, the Orient, and there's really very little control, and it's left a lot of contractors in a tight spot, a bit of a pickle.
Well, let's talk a little bit here. And what is the ICC, and what does that organization do for us builders?
So the ICC is the International Code Council. They are a member organization. They have 65,000 or so members. We are a member at the Builders License Training Institute. And what they do is they create and publish codes and standards for many industries, primarily the construction and trades industries. They create and publish the International Building Code, the International Residential Code, also the IMC or IPC, International Mechanical and International Plumbing Codes. And they work to forward the standards that we use in our industries every day. They set the standard, they publish it, and they create these manuals that we're able to use to complete our work. And it's what the codes also, it's what the states also subscribe to set the standards for work in their jurisdiction.
So why is owning a legitimate code book produced by the ICC so important? Why wouldn't I go out and buy one of these fraudulent code books?
You know, there's a lot of reasons why owning an actual version of the code book is extremely important to you as a contractor. It's extremely important to your customer. It's because all of the work that you do, if you're putting something together and your instruction manual is counterfeit and you can't count on those instructions, how can you count on your work? How can you stand behind the work you're doing and say, that is to the quality that I am willing to put my name on? If the code book that you're following is counterfeit and you have no idea if there are typos in the tables, especially in the tables, a lot of these code books have many tables, and we use those constantly, as you know. In the construction industry, it seems like half the time that I'm referencing the book, I'm looking at a table. Well, what happens if there's a typo in there? What happens if they pull the table out of the 2009 or the 2006 versions and it's not updated?
Yeah, so I couldn't trust the book at that point. I mean, it's a lifeline when I run into something on the job site that just seems to stump me. I need to know what that minimum standard is, and if I don't know it off the top of my head, and there's a lot of codes I don't know them all off the top of my head.
You reference the book, right?
Yeah. Oh, every time.
If you can't reference the book, if you can't trust your reference, how can you possibly walk away from your work trusting that it's done right?
It seems like the difference in going by a very inexpensive tool versus going by a quality professional tool. You spend a little extra money, but the quality is there. Now, how can we tell the difference in between these books?
There's a few ways. I hear you, because you look at these. I'm going to hold them up. These are two books, and one of them is a counterfeit book. One of them we ordered. We said, wow, we were sent a link by a customer. It was right from Amazon. And we said, wow, that can't be. Let's order it. Let's see the difference. And starting off, they look very similar. I bet that on camera you can barely see a difference. We're going to take some high definition shots of these. And as I'm talking, we will walk through the differences. So in my hand, I have a counterfeit book, and in Zachary's hand, you've got the actual book. Now we can see to the naked eye, they look very similar. But if we look a little bit closer, there's some serious discrepancies. I mean, first off, The color on the counterfeit book, slightly lighter, not quite as nice of ink, but even you can see there's a typo. They're missing the little trademark on the title section right below IBC. And if we turn the book to look this way, the binding is terribly glued. On this particular counterfeit book that's in my hand, there's very little glue in the binding, and what that leads to is the book actually breaks open as you open it. The binding is not as nice. The print inside of the book itself is much darker, and the paper that's used in this book is also, this is kind of like newspaper feeling, while this book is a high quality gloss paper, a little bit glossier paper, and it's thicker, it feels nicer. You can actually tell the thickness when you line them up next to each other. The counterfeit book is slightly thinner and also slightly smaller on the side than the actual book. The reason being, the counterfeiters want to use less paper. The less paper, the less cost. They're shipping these things in at the cheapest cost they can possibly get. So these are a few ways that you can tell if you've got a counterfeit book: is the binding, looking at the binding, the quality of the binding, looking at the quality of the color and ink, the quality of the paper that's used. You see how that just flipped right open? This is a brand new book, and you can already see there's a perfect image. This is a brand new book. We've only opened it a couple times, and it's already, the binding is breaking. But this book was ordered from Amazon. The seller was listed as the ICC. It was ultra cheap. We're talking, less than $20 range, but you get what you pay for. And inside of this book, there are typos, there are prints. The ink itself will actually smear if you rub it a bit. It's not a book that I would want to stand behind, that's for sure. And it could get you in serious trouble. If you were to bring this to, say, your authority having jurisdiction, your inspector, code official, building department, and they were to see that you're using a counterfeit book because you got it ultra cheap, forever they're going to scrutinize the decisions you make as far as the materials that you purchase. Well, how do they know if you're the type of person, the type of contractor that will buy an ultra cheap code book because it's on super sale? How do they know you're not going to buy the ultra cheap 2x6s that are on super sale because you could get them for a crazy low price? Forever they're going to scrutinize your work and think you're that type of contractor.
The guy who cuts corners.
The guy who cuts corners, exactly right. And we've mentioned this quite a few times, but your reputation is something that takes a lifetime to build. It takes years for you to have a reputation at a building department, for you to have a reputation in your community. And one time, cutting corners like this, getting caught, it's so hard to recover from a thing like that. It's so hard to recover. You may never totally recover from being the contractor who cuts corners.
Yeah, I hear that. One of my favorite sayings is, one old crap gets rid of 100 attaboys. So.
There you go. That's exactly right.
So when you order one of these books on Amazon, where's your money going and where's it coming from?
That's a really good point. Personally, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I support my industry. And what you're buying when you buy one of these ultra cheap books on Amazon or eBay or any of those big retailers that don't check their licensing, don't check any licensing, you are paying a scammer. Which not only are you getting a scammed product, not only are you getting a really cheap product, but also you're taking money directly out of your industry, out of the people who are forwarding your industry, and you're giving it to China. You're giving it to scam artists in the Philippines. You're not supporting the group that really is out there making your industry better. The ICC, that is what they are all about. They are not a for-profit company. They are a company that forwards the industry, that is a member-driven association. So when you do buy a code book from the ICC or from an ICC licensed dealer, you're supporting the forwarding of your industry. And that's a really big deal. I mean, I will always pay a couple extra bucks to see Made in the USA stamped on something.
For sure.
And that follows right through with what we're talking about today.
Awesome. Well, I think we've covered quite a bit on these code books, and now it's up to you guys to make the right decision.
Really,
when it comes down to purchasing one of these books, it's best just to get the real thing. It's a quality product. It's not going to fall apart on you 2 jobs in, and it's really just what needs to be done for our industry.
Yeah, Zachary, thank you very much for having me on today. I really appreciate you having me in to talk about this because it's a significant issue. There's way too many of these going out. I mean, we were on Amazon and we saw, 4-star reviews. There's like 350. That means hundreds of people are buying these books and getting left in a significant pickle.
Oh, yeah.
This is a huge industry issue. It's very difficult for them to regulate. Make sure you're buying your code books and your reference materials from a reputable dealer, from a school that you trust, or from the ICC directly. Really, guys, appreciate you having me on today, Zach. I hope that this helps the industry.
I'm sure it will. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.